Ham everybody! Welcome to the Ham Hearted Podcast, where we're just a bunch of amigos here to gossip pee about all the goings on of the past couple weeks.
You're actually doing this
because we've got some
TG,
best
I'm gonna stab you in the face.
First, let's introduce our crew of hams.
Not a fucking hamster.
We're not hamsters.
First, the Bizarro Trebird.
Awe, true to hamster.
The Dazzly Greg Dog.
I hate you.
The Trusty Duster Dawnhorse.
Too old for this shit. I'm gonna go play Pokemon.
The Pooey Scott.
GG, you're the pooiest.
And I'm your host, the Tip Top TG.
You're fucking crazy.
I'm a maniac.
He's a hamster maniac, apparently.
Anyways, we're actually hoof-hearted.
No shit.
And we're here to, do our usual podcasty shit. So, it's been a bit since our last one. It would have been less of a bit since our last one if Greg Dog didn't fuck it up last time. Yeah, I bring this up right away, asshole.
You know how I apologized immediely for this and I actually felt bad, but okay, sure.
I'm not gonna let you live it down because I love you.
Shots fired.
Love you, Greg Dog.
Alright, I'm going off to make another group. It's getting about that time again. Who's with me?
I'm taking over, y'all my bitches.
Alright, guess it's your turn. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Duster. You seem to be under the misapprehension that you can tell me what to do.
Bend over, bitch.
No.
Right.
I don't think I will.
So, let's get going with our topics for the week. We're gonna start off with the thing that happened last Saturday. I think.
Wait,
fandom masturbating.
No, you mean when I went to that Christian rock festival, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Talking about that.
Yeah, you mean that Christian Gem Festival? I mean, what?
What? Oh, that's an image.
Quick, how much Sonic fan art was at the Christian festival?
I gotta look up. Oh my god. You know what, Bo? There was sadly no Christian rapper, nor was there actual fish.
Oh my god, now I need to look up Christian Steven Universe fan.
That was my fault. Please.
That totally exists.
Yeah. But no, there was like a horse episode or something.
Yes, that's what we're actually here for.
Yeah, I heard everyone masturbating at the same time, and it was really disconcerting.
Oh, you mean the 100th
I sense a
episode?
disturbance in the force, as if billions of people faffed out at once and were suddenly silenced.
Alright, so we have a lot to say about this episode. We have some pretty different opinions in this group.
Which is good.
It's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a good discussion.
You mean we all have different opinions? We're gonna discuss this like mature adults and not throw each other out?
Wait, like mature adult person?
I was about to say,
damn it!
Written by mature adult person.
Greg, high five. But yeah, I guess I'll just choose randomly. Greg Dog, tell us your thoughts.
Oh wow, I get to go first. Is this punishment for fucking up the last podcast?
No, I legitimately just pointed at my screen and it landed on you.
So what? Wait, what? You pointed the mouse.
No,
you still had to move your mouse.
I pointed my finger randomly at the screen and it was pointed at you.
Alright, enough stalling. Okay, so I'll preface this with, going into this episode, my expectations were absolutely nothing. I knew it was gonna be a giant fan masturbation episode, as we're gonna call it, I guess. But yeah, I knew the fandering was coming, I knew it would be silly, I knew it wouldn't be exactly the best thing in the world, but I thought it would be okay. And you know what? It's about what it ended up being. It was, yeah, whatever. It's okay. Kept me entertained. Yeah, with how this season has been, I was just happy to have an episode that finally kept my interest and or did not fuck with the world building. Cough, Griffinstone, and the fucking Troubleshoes episode where nothing happened. But yeah, it was entertaining. Completely over the top, balls to the wall, silly, absurd, whatever you want to call it. It was 22 minutes of fan references and other such things, and I still don't know exactly how to describe it. It's so absurd. It's hard to even describe what I like and don't like about the episode. I guess you can say I really liked the stuff that I didn't expect to see there. Bon Bon being a secret agent, didn't expect that. One of my favorite moments. Stephen Magnet being there. That was fucking cool too. I have a soft spot for Stephen Magnet, even though he is a giant walking gay stereotype.
The name is now canon, by the way.
And I love that.
Which,
yeah.
should we recap where the name came from?
Yes.
Okay, so, someone turned on the auto, caption thing on YouTube, and it does a shitty job of auto captioning. And when he said sea serpent, the auto caption said Stephen Magnet. So someone screen capped me because they thought it was really funny and said, oh, his name is Stephen Magnet, and then it stuck.
So fucking magnets, how do they work?
So fucking magnets, granted, that's probably one of the best origins of a meme I've heard.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, anyways, I was glad to see him again. What else? My favorite moment was Gummy's montage because it came so out of the blue and it's played so straight. I was laughing hard at that one. That was my favorite little thing they threw in there. And then finally, yeah, the little stuff too. The princesses arguing, that was great. I kind of liked how the Doctor, even though he was Doctor Who, he was still also a combination of Doc Brown from Back to the Future, and Derby was kind of his Marty. So, I love that series. That was cool to see. But,
Derby, it's our kids!
God. Her name is Muffins now?
Don't care. Anyways, the things I didn't like, yeah, I don't know. It's definitely silly, like I said. I can take a bit of silly, but after 22 minutes, it does get kind of graining. I cringed hard at a couple of moments that I've already told them. When Derpy hands Cranky the basket of muffins at the beginning, I was like, oh god, we're already going there. This is going to be a long one. And thankfully, it wasn't that bad the rest of the way. But, god, what else? I mentioned something earlier.
The Twilight Cane.
Yeah, the Twilight Cane. And look, I loved the Twilight Cane as a quick, temporary meme. Why the fuck was it there? I mean, granted, to nitpick something in this absurd of an episode seems a little odd, but what the fuck? That one came
because
right
they
out of
reached
nowhere,
into the meme basket and that's what they got.
Yeah. But, I don't know. The things there's not really much of a story to this episode in terms of being, very deep. It's mostly fan references, and then they tied it together with a good message at the end, and yeah, I don't know. I'll actually have something to add later once the others are done discussing, but I think it's better placed there. So, I don't know. I'm gonna give this episode a 6 out of 10.
Out of curiosity, what are you gonna do towards the end? Because I might have to save some of my notes for that.
Okay, I was gonna bring up the theory about how Larson might have done some things on purpose.
Okay, yeah. I might throw in my notes in with that.
Okay. TG, pick a person.
Alright. Thank you, Greg Dig.
That's my name.
Don't wear it, oot. I guess I'll move to Scott next.
Yay?
Yeah, say words.
Okay,
Alright, thanks, Scott. That was a good discussion.
Wow.
No, go on, Scott.
Scott's the gummy of a group. He thinks deep down on the inside.
Yeah, but no, go on, Scott.
I actually did it. I like Greg, I went into this episode with no expectations and actually did enjoy it for the most part. I did enjoy that they were being attacked by a giant panda bee. A panda bee.
They called it the bugbear, but yeah, whatever.
It's a panda wing.
A panda bee.
That's my personal
panda wing.
Mm-hmm.
Or as I coined, or a bee bear, or a beer, as I coined the term in the React. Anyway, while Ponyville is being attacked by beer and booze.
No, that was TG this week.
Dude, I got so drunk and hit on bridesmaids. It was awesome.
And that is now online for all.
Yeah, it is.
Congrats.
It's okay. No one I know knows this podcast exists.
Actually, we've been going up in subs. Maybe one day we'll find it too.
No one I know is a brony. So
TG's friend list. Here, let's just...
Okay.
God damn it.
Anyways, for Scott, continue.
Anyway, I like the fact that how everyone is just so casual about the town being attacked because it's happened so goddamn often. There's like whatever, like they're running. They're like, shit, we need to go. They're like, shit, we need to get here before the bugbear destroys this place, or whatever kind of thing. So they're not scared, right? They're not really scared or freaking out or anything. They're just trying to go to the shops, buy the stuff from the shops before it gets destroyed and the collateral damage of the fight between the main six and and the weekly problem. As for the actual characters, I did like Derpy for a bit. Muffin thing was there.
I love how you say for a bit, as if liking her was temporary.
Did her voice grain on you, or? I kind of admit she did a little for me.
A little bit, yeah. With the Doc Who thing, I wasn't sure what he was referencing from the Doctor Who at all because I never seen or
there were a lot of references.
After a while,
too many.
After a while, it stopped being cute and started being ham-fisted.
I did get the Doc Brown thing. I'm like, oh, it's Back to the Future. That's cool. I like this. I did get that. And the whole Alonzi thing at the end, I'm like, okay.
I think everyone knows that. That is the overused
Alonzi?
Doctor Who saying.
Which is basically every Doctor Who saying.
We've got 20% cooler, they have Alonzi.
The one thing I liked was the Big Lebowski's voice. He did a really good impression, actually. Yeah. I actually thought...
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
For a split second, I was like, did they? No, they didn't. That it would have been pretty rad if they actually got Jeff Bridges to voice a talking horse.
I thought it was Jeff Bridges. Then I was like, Chris, like, oh, it wasn't. That was a damn good impression.
Kudos.
Then then the Vinyl Octavia thing. The one thing or I guess Lyra Bomba, which the whole lesbian subtext thing. I'm like, whatever, best friends, lesbians, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, yeah, I kind of feared there'd be a secret service of some sort of point of view, considering it gets blasted by monsters. I just was not expecting it to be Bon Bon, which threw me off guard, and it was silly. And Bon Bon's sunglasses just look so fucking ridiculous. When she's trying to blend into the crowd, I'm like, that's just going to make you stand out more, because none of the ponies wear sunglasses. How is that blending in? And Octavia Vinyl thing. I like that Vinyl's a mute. Good on them for that. Them being roommates, was not expecting that. Vinyl, she living in Ponyville, that's cool. Octavia, I thought she lived, up in Canterlot. Considering that's, I guess, what her scene would be.
It makes sense, but I was expecting the roommates. Like, the fandom's written that, so they have to put it in.
Yeah. And then all the people that became roadkill. With the bass, with the giant speaker car, or what?
Well, they should have been roadkill, but I don't know how that worked. This is a family-friendly show.
How did they get picked up and launched on top of the speakers? Anyway, this culmination of gathering everyone into the wedding was great. The sibling fight between Celestia and Luna, loved it. Especially since they're like the two most powerful beings, considering they control the moon and sun, and they could probably just teleport the package directly there, most likely, with their magic, but they don't. Which made things even more amusing for me. And, God, what else is there? Oh yeah, the random changeling at the wedding. Hi. What?
I'm just here for the food.
I completely forgot about that. I enjoyed that too.
Random changing that showed up to a wedding where the two princesses are also at the same wedding. That's anyway. Yeah, I've rambled enough, long enough. I guess I'll give it I'll give it a 7.
All right. Thank you, Scott, for all those words you said that I was definitely paying attention to.
He wasn't.
I paid attention to some
You're the
of it.
best host of the podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of a conversation on Facebook.
Oh, I thought you were in the middle.
I was expecting Fern Fan.
Yes.
No, it's during maintenance. Heavensward launches in
Oh, so you
3
would
hours.
be a Fern Fan.
Oh, I
if
totally
not.
would be, because Heavensward is launching in 3 hours.
We are the most professional podcast.
Hell yeah, we are.
Anyway,
Anyways,
TG, your turn.
And we also
Yeah,
get sidetracked a lot, so.
I'm gonna go next.
Oh, you should have seen the Heresy Brothers podcast.
Alright, so I'm gonna be the first of us who didn't like the episode. I went into it, expecting, alright, there's gonna be all this dumb fandom crap. I can live with that. I won't like it, but I'll live with it. I watched the episode. I didn't even care about most of that stuff. It didn't bother me. What bothered me was the really poor writing of the episode, and a lot of really weird dialogue, and a lot of not good, story development, and just, I really genuinely didn't like the episode. And so, I think the one thing that we've commented on the most as an example of, wow, the writing in this episode was really stilted and weird, was after a particularly traumatic event in my childhood, which isn't a thing anyone would say ever. I heard someone try to argue that, he's based on Doctor Who, so that's a thing he would say, maybe. No, it's not. I watch Doctor Who, I'm a fan of that show, and the Doctor talks like a person most of the time.
Either a person or a crazy person.
Yeah,
depending on which one.
He never talks like a robot. I could hear a Dalek saying that, but I don't think Dr. Hooves is based on a Dalek. Maybe he is. Maybe that's the thing that's messing with me.
I haven't seen him
secretly a Dalek.
exterminate anything, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, kids show.
But, no, it's...
He'd be
Let's show it
exterminating
anyways.
something. Hell, to the
Yeah.
British Doctor Who's a kid's show.
Yeah, it is. But, anyways, that's the big, wow, something is bad with this writing. That was the big moment of that. But just, you also, they're introducing all of these characters and, establishing this is what their personality is in canon now. Except, there's, 8, 9 characters they do this for in 20 minutes. So you don't actually get to see any development for any of them, and it's just a huge exposition dump the entire time. And I don't know, it didn't flow. There were things I liked in the episode. I agree that the gummy thing was legitimately funny, but then there were things like Bon Bon as a secret agent, which... Why? I get that it's supposed to be a random, funny joke thing, but why? It left me way more confused than entertained, and it served absolutely no purpose. Because she has her whole, monologue about, I have to stop it, it's my responsibility, and then she leaves. And then the main 6 stops it, and she just comes back without doing anything. So
I don't know if she actually said she had to
yeah, she
stop
did.
it.
She said it's her responsibility. She has to go stop it. So yeah, everything in the episode seemed like it never went anywhere really. And yeah, I don't know. Treebeard has a lot more to say about this, and there are some points I disagree with him on, but others that I really agree with. So he'll go on more, but I'm gonna give this a 4. So, yay for really low score. And, I guess, Duster, you can go now.
Alright. I was just trying to pay off my health insurance. Woo. Alright. So, the good news is, I don't hate it. The bad news is, that doesn't make it a good episode. When I first heard about this episode, I probably went and smacked my head against the table for a few minutes because I was expecting it to be nothing but pure fandom masturbation for painful 22 minutes. And I was prepared to give this episode a -10 and just go on for about half an hour about why it's terrible. Now that I've seen it, it wasn't that bad. I kind of liked it. There were a few moments where I had to loudly sigh or eye roll at how forced the reference were, but I kind of like they managed to tell little bits of character stories in very short periods of time, and at least to me, I know someone's going to disagree with this, not have it come across as unfinished. Forced, yes. Forced is the Doctor. Or should I say Doctor Who's. Because I like the original concept of just a wacky steampunk scientist dude who fucks around with time a lot, and that's it. Like, no Doctor Who shit, this is just what he does. And the more he kept talking, the more disappointed I got with his character, because eventually he just became a walking, talking ball of Doctor Who gags. And with the gummy bit, someone said it was a reference to something else. I X'd out of the page, so I can't say what it is. But I thought of the monologue in Castlevania with that one. What is a mare? A miserable pile of secrets. And, let's see. Like Greg, I can't really say, oh, here's why I like the episode, because the episode is just basically a whole bunch of little stories crammed together into 22 minutes. So you really have to pick segments that you liked instead of just overall why you liked it.
Yeah.
There's no overarching story per se. There is, but
There
it's not
is,
why
but
you
it's
like it per se.
Takes up like 5 minutes of the actual episode, let's be real.
Yeah.
So I guess the little things I liked. I'll start out with the little things I didn't like. One, that Doctor Who's eventually just became Doctor Who. I think it would have been way better if they didn't go that route and just made him like a wacky scientist dude that nobody really gets. Like, if they just left it with that and did not insert any Doctor Who bullshit, I think it would have been awesome.
AKA the Doc Brown, him acting like
the Doc Brown
Brown
character would have been cooler on his own. It's
not even a Dark Brown character, just
something similar.
Something similar, but not a reference to an existing character. Just a character by itself.
Yeah.
How about giving the flower ponies like some other character, except for repeating the same lines that they've had for 6 seasons?
Them overreacting to shit. That's kind of what they do, though.
It's a little over the top.
There's what they do, and then there's overplaying it to the point we go, we get it. Let's see. I'm just gonna click back to my notes. On second thought, yeah, I totally expected Octavia and Vital being roommates. Like, I just knew it was going to happen. That doesn't make it make any more sense.
Yeah.
And the Lyra Bonbon thing, I liked their friendship, and people are going to argue against me. I still think it's ambiguous whether or not they're total lesbians or not. You can say, because they kept on repeating, we're good friends, that it makes them friends. Sure, you can view it that way.
Then there's the contact, though.
And then there's, if you look at, like, the actions and just mute it and look at the actions, then it becomes a whole different story. And I think that was on purpose. So the people are like, Lyra and Bonbon are totally in lesbians. You can go with that. Lyra and Bonbon are just really good friends. You can go with that. Everybody wins. There's no wrong answer. Now to go over what I liked. The Panda Wing is a totally fucking metal version of the mascot of Hufflepuff. I'm just gonna say it right now. So, fuck you, Slytherin and Gryffindor. Hufflepuff is the best house. And, let's see. The Celestia Luna, like, miniature bicker.
The sibling fight.
I'm the little sister of 2 sisters. I can tell you that is exactly how it goes. And I've heard some people argue that it was out of character for the princess, and I'll say it's out of character for the princesses, it's not out of character for siblings.
And they are siblings.
And they are siblings, and we can't forget that. And it really makes them, it kind of, this is going to be a weird sounding word for this type of content, it humanizes them. We get to see the princesses more down to earth, which I really like. Let's see, I'm sorry, my notes are just a huge fucking mess. I'm gonna go back to things I didn't like. Derpy and the Muffins thing, and the Twilight Cane thing. Those were two things that made me groan out loud. Now back to things that I actually do like. I fucking love Shining Armor as a pussy at weddings. I don't know why. I just like it.
It's a funny gag.
He
It's
wasn't
a character
crying.
trait.
It was liquid pride.
That joke is old and dumb.
Yeah.
And now I kind of wish that they redid a Canterlot wedding, but had him just like sobbing uncontrollably. Actually, my new headcanon is that he was sobbing because he was having PTSD flashbacks from fighting the changelings at his own goddamn wedding.
Oh my god, that's
And speaking of changelings, I liked the random changeling there and the somatic meme of "I'm just here for the food." Think about that for a moment. That's why it's funny.
No, the even more funny thing is they're just a bunch of small ponies just staring at the changing off to the side during the pan. It's hilarious.
And I do believe that is a fanfic reference. I'm not sure to what.
My
but I
little
still
changeling
liked it.
friendship is weird.
That's
you go.
that's what I want to say because it's.
I don't think there are fanfic references in here because the writers are contractually obligated to not read fanfiction.
Yeah, that's that's the thing. They say that they are like legally not allowed to read fan stuff because, you know, if they like subconsciously reference something, someone could be like, "Hey, you've read my thing," and then used it in the show. But so many of these references are like so blatant. It's impossible for them to not actually be based on
I don't think it's
them.
referencing certain fan fictions. It's referencing tropes in the fandom that you wouldn't have to read a fan fiction for.
Yeah,
And
that's
Changeling and Equestria is a trope.
No, it is. Like,
Yeah.
they're not
That's-
references to specific fan fictions, but at the same time, it's like most of these tropes are based on like one successful fan fiction.
Which become popularized throughout the fandom. So,
Yeah.
yes and no. Like, they
Yeah,
can still
it's a
not read the
weird
fan fiction,
middle
but still
ground.
see it.
It's a
Is what I'm
weird
saying.
middle ground.
I'll go over the main problem I have with the mere concept of this episode later during Greg's thing. I guess we're going to bicker back and forth over this. I don't know.
Well, I don't think we'll be bickering about it. I think we're in agreement for the
yeah.
most part, actually.
Okay, so it's just going to be
Yeah.
us talking over each other.
Yeah.
And I am going to give this episode, an episode that I don't hate. How do I score that?
0 out of 10.
No, that's
Like two
other
rounds
things.
left.
That actually, one more comment I have to make. I like how the donkey couple came out of the episode that I hate the most out of the entire series.
Oh, the Smile Song episode.
That's right.
Yeah, that.
And where Pinky's an
A
obnoxious
Friend Indeed
twat.
is one of the two episodes I have considered quitting in the middle of because I could not fucking stand it. It was that painful.
Yeah, that episode is.
It was. That one is a -10 episode. That is my -10 episode. I'm gonna give this one I'm gonna say a 7.
Oh. Higher than me.
I'm gonna say a 7 just because it's little things that come together to make it not so tedious, but at the same time, it's not like something to write home about.
Mm-hmm.
To give you an idea, I gave the premiere at either a 9 or a 10. I think I gave it a 10 actually, and
It was damn good.
I gave Canterlot Wedding a 9. So take that as you will.
Greg, what was your score? I don't remember.
I was a 6.
6.
All right. And
That tea. Now to go on my next one.
I guess now on to the man of the however long this podcast ends up being.
1 hour, 13
Trevered.
minutes.
Ooh, calling it.
Oh, you're calling upon me now.
Yeah.
On the
Let's do the ragey thing.
Alrighty,
We always
so
have to rage.
I have an opportunity to be grump for a change.
Yeah, be grumpy and
grump.
angry.
I am grump.
Be the opposite of what you were in the thing we just recorded.
Yeah. Okay, so my opinion on this episode. Maybe I should preface this with my expectations. I guess I'm not really sure what I actually expected this to be. I really had no clue other than, oh god, the pandering will be strong in this one.
Quite
Beyond that-
it was a panda.
Beyond that, I don't think I had any real preconceptions of what it was going to be. And then when I watched it, throughout all the references and all the little gags that kept popping up, something kind of dawned on me. Nothing was really accomplished. Okay, you got the two donkeys married, but was that really crucial? What did that advance exactly? I don't really feel like this episode accomplished anything. And yeah, I did not care for the fandom references much because most of this shit was shit I did not care about. Nothing about... I said this in the React, and I feel like I'm just going to be quoting from the React a lot. I did not give a shit about background ponies before, and I certainly didn't give a shit about them now. So, when I saw this episode, I guess I'm treating it like, okay, Larson, sell me on this. I didn't like it before, but you know what? Try and get me to. Because if you wouldn't mind me citing something that I did a little while ago with the Steven Universe podcast that we've been doing, the episode Keeping It Together got me to like a character that I didn't previously care for. So there is hope for a series to get me to like something that I wasn't previously very fond of. This did not sell me on the whole background pony concept. It did not sell me on the characters at all because, like TG mentioned, most of their dialogue was like taking a huge exposition shit all over us. Like the long snaking ones that take about 15 minutes to get out. Except these were compressed in about 5.
This is a disgusting metaphor, but
well, it's about
okay.
how I feel about it.
Lovely.
And yeah, Bon dumping out her exposition, the Doctor dumping out his exposition. It's just, it doesn't feel like a lot was accomplished. It feels like they were trying to do too much at once and accomplish basically nothing. Oh my god. It's Magical Mystery Cure all over again. God, now I know why I hate it so much.
Except there's actually mixed feelings about this episode.
Disagreement, but there's also disagreement in Magical Mystery Cure being bad.
No,
For
I'm saving my
some
counters
reason.
for when I'm saving my counters for when you're done.
But yeah, I feel like this was I feel like this episode, in terms of narrative, tried to accomplish too much and ended up accomplishing nothing. I mean, I admit freely, I did this in the React too, that this episode may just not be for me. But as I mentioned before, this was also an opportunity to sell me on this idea, which I was not behind before, and it didn't do it. So, yeah, I'm giving this a 3 out of 10. I did not like this episode at all.
All right.
So, Greg, your counterpoint.
That was
Duster aim back here. Well, are we gonna average up the scores?
I am back.
Okay.
Let's average up the scores real quick.
Go for
So,
it.
Treebeard said 3, yes, just now?
I'm just being quiet
Right.
because my throat's very
Yeah, 3.
Okay. So that's a 4, a 3, 2 7s, and a 6, which when we do some math, That's a 5.4.
And yet that's still in the top half of episodes we've looked at this season, I believe.
Yeah.
But, don't know what that says about this season. That's for another day. But, I don't know. My counter to the whole it didn't really advance anything at all is that, yeah, it's not supposed to. And
It still
I know,
should.
I know, hold on. And I know, and I get it. Like, some stories should advance a plot, or advance something. But at the end of the day, M.A. Larson, who didn't want to do this episode, was given the task of, okay, you have to do this, this is what you're gonna do.
Ooh, can we talk about this?
Well, we will. Hold on, just
Okay.
give me a second. And, you know, for what it is, he was told, essentially, fit all these fan characters in here, make it entertaining, make it silly, do it. It's not exactly my thing, but at the same time, he succeeded in doing that, and he made some charming moments along the way. We're not supposed to be, like, having a long-term story with any of these characters. We're popping in, we're learning a little about them, and moving on to the next one. So, to expect a lot of depth out of them and to get more about their characters, it's not something you know, I didn't expect that out of this episode at all. So when we just had little blurbs with each one, I'm like, okay, moving on to the next one. Some of these are funny, some are cringy, but for sure. And for what it is, it's okay. It's not great. Again, it doesn't do anything to the overall plot, which, granted, I do prefer those episodes over ones like this. But it meets its objective. It meets what it was meant to do. And I feel like, at the end of the day, did it keep me entertained? That's the question I had to ask myself. Was I entertained by what I saw? And yeah, I was. It wasn't the best thing ever, but you know what? Like, compared to some of the other things we've had to suffer through this season, like fucking Troubleshoes where nothing happened, and like I mentioned, Griffinstone, where essentially Griffin Society got fucked in the ass, like, story building wise, or world building wise. Like, I'll take that over those. At least I had a few laughs out of this one. But anyway, I'll let you respond to some of my points, and then I'll see.
Okay.
I actually kind of have a response to some of that.
Go ahead.
You
Proceed.
like my point is mainly that even if it's not advancing anything in the overall plot, it should be advancing its own plot. And
it does eventually get to its conclusion,
like it
though.
Doesn't, though, because this is a plot that could have been resolved with a minute-long conversation. All they have,
Which
like,
is?
they could have just... First of all, the plot should never have happened. I just came back from a wedding. Like, in, like, the months leading up to a wedding, you are making sure everything is perfect. You don't mess up the dates on your invitations. You check that immediately. Like, there's no way it would ever happen. But I'm willing to suspend my disbelief on that front. But when you, like, are going to a wedding, first of all, most of the people there live in Ponyville. The ones who don't live in Ponyville are the princesses, and they could pretty easily just be like, yeah, we'll take an extra day off, whatever. We're the princesses. We literally rule everything.
Could they take the day off?
They took the day off for this!
I mean, they probably planned that out in advance, though.
Yeah, but...
They gotta request time off.
No, they don't! They request the time off from themselves!
But what if they have, like, a fucking visitor coming the next day?
They say fuck them! They rule everything!
That's not how a country works.
Greg,
This
how
has
a
been
kingdom
derailed.
works.
Move on to your point, sir.
Greg, you're forgetting they're literal gods.
Yeah, that's
They're
how
not gods.
They are, though.
They're magical, but they're not
No,
gods.
they're gods.
Did they create anything? They manage universal
Yeah,
powers, I guess you
that's
could
what
say.
gods are.
I think
No, that's
a
more
little
like-
of a stretch.
They're more
But
like
I'm
metaphysical management.
Can we get off the
Okay.
point of whether they could cancel their lunch for the next day or not?
But
Okay.
that's my point. Like, this plot could have been resolved with guys, I know you took your time off to be here, but there was a mistake on the invitations. We need one more day to get ready. It's a problem, but it's our big day. Can you guys help us out and just, wait one more day for our wedding? Problem solved. That's all it requires.
You're also forgetting that Cadence and Shining Armor also came from the Crystal Empire to be here?
Yeah,
why do they care?
Yeah, it's...
I don't know, we're there. If you could invite a princess to your wedding, you would do it.
Yeah, but...
Okay, whatever. I'll bring up those.
No,
I feel like we've gone off. Again, this is a side point.
Choo-choo! We're off the rails!
Let Treebeard go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this whole episode is off the rails, Greg.
Yeah, it is, but
There were no
that doesn't mean the
rails.
discussion has to be off the rails, too. Anyways, yes.
Okay, but in relation to what TG just said, there is actually another issue that I forgot to bring up about this episode that I really didn't like. It's an idiot plot. It only works because the characters are idiots.
I feel like that happens in a lot of cartoons, though, and some days we're still willing to say, yeah, okay, we're good with that.
Okay, but the difference between an idiot plot and this, where the only reason it works is because they're idiots, is that in something that would legitimately work, it has been clearly, firmly established that the character this is happening to is an idiot. Like, as annoying as it is when it happens in, like, Gravity Falls with Zeus or in Steven and Steven Universe, at least it's pretty clearly established that they're complete fucking morons.
Well, I mean,
It's
they did have
also-
Derpy manage this. She is the one that set it off.
But it's
Yeah,
also
but
important to
there's
note
also the flower arrangers who apparently did not have everything ready by that point. They don't even have the flowers in? Really? How would they have expected to have it ready by the wedding if they didn't even have the flowers in the day before?
I also want to say, generally in an idiot plot that works, it's set into motion by someone doing something really stupid, and then either resolved by the competent people, or resolved by the idiot being competent. This entire plot was just doing something stupid, doing something else stupid, and then doing yet another stupid thing.
Another problem...
I mean, it's stupid. I didn't disagree with you on that. The whole premise is stupid, and the whole, the way things progress are stupid.
Dumb.
I'm not disagreeing on that.
Okay. But yeah, another thing that kind of just bothered me is that a lot of, like, the little subplots that you brought up, because it's been brought up that, well, this is just a bunch of little stories strung together, but none of them are really resolved in any way.
You want
Which
to know?
ones are you thinking?
Mostly the ones that have to do with the doctor.
The doctor never got his suit pressed. He found a scarf and said, fuck it.
So that's a resolution, though. He didn't have it pressed. He got a scarf instead.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. It
Bon
felt
got
like they
the
kept
got the
bringing up
bugbear
plot threads.
defeated. I mean, the bowling people finished their game. Octavia finished her music number with vinyl.
Oh god, I hated that.
It was dumb, I admit,
much.
but it's a resolution.
I mean, okay, it started off okay, then it got then I'll agree with you, but it got discordant.
Okay, but here's the thing. Compare this episode, which is a bunch of smaller plots woven together and happening, with Cutie Mark Chronicles, which is a bunch of smaller plots all together. That's an infinitely better episode than
I don't
this.
disagree with you on that. I'm not saying this is
Hey,
a perfect
you
way
wanna
to
know
do an
who
episode.
wrote Cutie Mark Chronicles?
Larson.
M.A. Larson.
Yeah, I called that. Okay.
Like, it's been shown that he can do bunches of smaller plots together in an episode. But in this one, he didn't do it well.
It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. Remember, I gave a 6 to this episode. I was just playing to the point of why I liked it and I didn't completely hate it. Do we have... Alright,
I think we need to move on, Greg.
Duster, do you have anything to say?
No, not really. I've been keeping quiet just because I don't really have much else to add, and my throat kind of hurts. So.
All right. Okay. And but one thing I was gonna bring up. This is unrelated.
And I'm
to everything
saving up
else.
for the next bits.
That's right. But I was gonna bring up that there was an interesting DA post I saw by Mr. Enter, who does YouTube reviews. I think TG's watched him too. But he had a theory. And the reason he enjoyed this episode, which I'm not sure whether to buy into it or not, is essentially what we mentioned earlier was that Larson did not want to do this concept. He didn't enjoy it, he was forced to do it by the Hub and Hasbro, and he said, fine, I'll do it and make the best of it. Larson's kind of known for being a little cynical and a bit snarky at times. So, in response to getting tasked to do this episode, he said, okay, I'll give them all the fan references they want. But at the same time, I'm gonna make it look absolutely fucking stupid and totally an absolute disaster to watch.
I mean, it worked.
And to a degree, that's kind of what ends up happening. We kind of see what it would be like if the fandom ran the show instead of the writers. If all these stupid little subplots were all together happening at once instead of the actual plot of the show where they usually would be fighting the bugbear. And he essentially saw it as genius because it's knocking on the fandom thinking that, okay, we can write our own stories too, but it's, it still serves as a tribute to the fandom, but it's also not exactly complimentary.
It's satire.
It's satire, yes. Which I found interesting. I'm not sure whether to buy it or not, but I found it interesting.
I mean...
Anything to say on that, or...?
Part of it is...
I do as well, but...
I'm not sure if I commented on this already, but it feels like when Larson is stuck doing an episode or a concept he doesn't like and his heart really isn't in it, it shows. And I feel like it especially shows with this episode. I'm not sure whether I can fault him on that or not, but I'm just citing this as something that's all equally possible.
All right.
He didn't. It feels like he did not give a shit.
I'm going to slightly deviate from this conversation. Still slightly on topic, but go a little bit in a different direction. The fact that M.A. Larson fought against this episode is saying something. And I still stand with my original statement from the last Pony Podcast. You notice that I'm not in the Steven Universe podcast, and that's for a reason. They're trying to convert me. Please stop them.
We're not giving up.
I still stand by my statement from that podcast that bronies are the most spoiled and entitled fandom there is and don't realize it. The staff caters to their whims, and it's ruining the fandom. This episode is the beginning of the end if the glowing reviews on EQD are any indication. Now that this episode has given bronies carte blanche to bitch about anything that doesn't jive with their personal headcanons. Which, by the way, I understand why headcanons are fun. They're what-ifs and speculations that it would be cool if it's in there, but it's just your own imagination.
Unless they suck.
Unless they suck, but the point with headcanons is they're not obligated to add them to the show. They don't deserve to be there. You are not owed anything. The bronies that say the show would not have been around this long without the fandom is simultaneously right, but there's also a few that kind of imply so the show owes us. And those people need to suck on a dick. Because as much as that's true, they don't owe you shit. It's a nice gesture, and this fandom is more than a gesture. It's a fucking hand job. Let's just get that out of the way. But it is the fact that M.A. Larson fought against this and said that it is just a bunch of dumb fandom memes. He's totally right, by the way. I don't know. I know that the fandom has been this entitled and spoiled for a really long time, but this episode has just made it come out. Like, they're crawling out of the fucking woodworks. And as much as... And I bet money that people were going to go into the comment section and bitch about how this wasn't right, or so-and-so's voice just isn't what it's supposed to be, and surprisingly, there wasn't that much of it. I fully expected someone to bitch, well, that's not how Octavia sounds to me, or that's not Derpy's voice, or that's not how Lyra and Bonbon are actually, like, secretly fucking in the background. They're not best friends. I expected someone to point out how this was wrong in their eyes.
No one did.
A few did.
A few did. But, I feel like this episode unintentionally opened a lot of gates it is not going to be easy, if not impossible, to be closed. Because now that we've given the bronies basically everything they wanted on a silver fucking platter, what's to stop them from demanding more? This is the fandom that you give them an inch, they take it to fucking China. So I guess that's my worry about the state of the fandom following this episode, is that they're going to be more entitled to scream and bitch about something that doesn't fit them. I'll say, why don't you bring back Derpy for this? Why don't you bring back Octave? Blah, 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 blah.
God, they were bitching about Derpy for most of season 4.
Yeah. And also the comments on the trailers were indication of how easily entertained this fandom is. Derpy said a thing! I am appeased! God, they're talking like fucking cavemen who just discovered fire.
Something of note is that someone actually did get mad at Larson for having Derpy named Muffins, even though that's obviously not his decision, which kind of goes to show, again, your point. That, yeah, the fandom thinks they own the character and they can name it whatever they like.
Well, you know what else demonstrated how beautifully the fandom thinks they own this show?
Mm-hmm.
The button mash fiasco.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That just perfectly personifies the entitlement of this fandom. They think they own this character, they created this character, and no, they fucking didn't. And they got mad at Hasbro, and they bitched, and they screamed, and all this, and Hasbro has every goddamn right to take you to court if they wanted to. Which, that's a whole new subject for a whole new thing later on in this podcast. Spoiler alert!
Anyway.
But yeah, that's my rant about how bronies are entitled. I am going to keep saying this because it's totally true. I will never not stop saying it. I need team. My throat is shot.
Anyway.
I'm gonna bitch more.
Right.
Anyway, we better continue on.
Yes, that's a thing you just said.
Let's continue on with this podcast.
Yeah, so that wraps up our discussion of that thing that happened last Saturday.
That is definitely our longest episode discussion ever. We are still at only 54 minutes.
And we still have a lot
to talk about. Yeah,
we
still have a bunch of stuff to talk about. So, buckle up.
We talked.
Prepare for a long one.
Yeah, so the next thing is a thing. Yes, that's a sentence. The next thing is a thing that came out before the 100th episode, but you know,
we actually did talk about
it's a
this
thing
before.
we all enjoy.
Yeah, it's a thing we all enjoy, and we talked about it in that thing that doesn't exist.
Shut up. Get over it.
I wanted in on it, and I didn't make it to the last one. I don't remember why. I think I was just burnt out. Okay.
So you should be thanking me.
No, Greg, it's awesome. I'm so glad you fucked up.
Thank you, Greg, for not leaving out your token woman.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh.
Okay. So,
let me talk out of my vagina. Blah, 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 blah.
But we're leaving out the token ethnicity person, aka
Chris?
Calvin.
no, yeah.
We have our token ethnicity person.
We have several token
Wave,
ethnicity
Treebeard.
people.
I'm the token ethnicity that none of you have ever heard of.
But you see, Treebeard still acts white.
Yeah, that's true.
But I do have a heritage that
statement.
nobody would fucking recognize.
Anyways,
If anyone should be bitching about representation, it's me, and I don't.
Honestly, all of us act pretty white. Anyways,
we're just to show you guys that we don't immediately hate everything that's fan made, even though we hate most things that are fan made.
Oh.
There's a fan thing that we actually enjoyed a bunch.
It's two fan things that we actually enjoy in one.
technically, yes.
It's the video that was just released. When was it released? Like 2 weeks
ago.
now?
3 weeks. Probably
now?
3.
I think it's like 3 weeks there, a month ago. But the video made by insert whoever made it here because I don't remember.
Ponyphonic made the song.
Ponyphonic made the
artist.
song. I forget who the artist is.
I'm going to look it up because I want to credit
Yeah,
them.
look
give,
up the artist.
give the dude credit. I mean,
Yeah, I do not remember their name. So Greg,
one of the
look
big
it up.
selling points of
No,
this is that it took 2.5 years to make, and it shows.
Yeah.
YouTube tried to search Lullaby by Nickelback. Bad. No.
Oh, no.
No.
On that topic, it is the video made by Greg's about to tell us who for Lullaby for a Princess.
Okay, the channel is Warp Out. I'm going to see if there is a name behind that.
It's
Okay.
Warp Out Animations or something.
And that is multiple people. There are
Yeah,
backgrounds
it's a
by
studio.
Sembaro, C Maggot.
It's a
There's
studio.
a whole.
There's animation
But it's Warp
studio.
Out Animations.
Yeah, and
Anyways, yeah, there you go. Good enough.
this animation is
It's fantastic.
stunning. Yeah, it is amazing.
Okay,
And
I'm going to say outright the best part about this animation, they didn't go with the show style. That is actually a selling point.
yeah, no, we talked about
refreshing
this
to
last
see.
time. One of the best things about this is that they realized they couldn't, like, mimic the show style perfectly, so they
So
were
they
like,
didn't.
yeah, we're not gonna try. We're gonna do our own style, and it looks fucking
Yeah.
beautiful.
Instead, it's this really unique watercolor painting kind of style that really looks pretty and yet still meshes with the characters we're
with-
visualizing.
It's a combination of
shading.
anime ponies
Yeah.
with the like kind of watercolor-y story book type illustration from the opening of the Elements of Harmony or the Friendship is Magic, whatever the fucking premiere was for the first season. It's that style where they're explaining the origin of Nightmare Moon,
hmm
with a little bit of Art Nouveau thrown in for good measure. But it took 2.5 years to make this thing, and
It's this magnum opus.
I don't do animation. There's like 2 people here that do.
Oh, Chris isn't here.
Well,
Okay, one person who does. And at least to me, it shows. It shows that it took 2 years. And I love Ponyphonic. They're one of my favorite fan musicians out there. And I think this was a very, very fitting and beautiful tribute.
Yeah, and really, one of the things that really struck out to me, and I keep going back to it, I really like how the imagery transitions a lot of the time. Like, there's some really, really powerful imagery in here to go along with the song, and it just matches up beautifully. And sometimes you'll be looking at something and not realizing it just goes right on to the next scene, and it's really cool how it's done. It's like a storybook almost. And it's so seamless and so well done, and that was something I just really appreciated looking at it. It was gorgeous, really.
Yeah, it was a pretty phenomenal
very-
video in like every way.
Yeah.
And we talked about this last time on the
The
subject
song
of the song itself. I know we mentioned in the last one that somehow me and Scott
Yeah,
both
you guys
missed
had
it.
not heard of it.
Yeah, but no, we had heard of it. We had just never actually heard the song itself. Like, it just slipped under our
Yeah.
radars when it came out. Which is weird, because I actually have heard Ponyphonic's other songs when they came out. Because
Lullaby for their
Ponyphonic
Princess
awesome.
is like their signature.
I know, yet
It
somehow
is.
me and Scott both missed
Yeah,
it.
yeah, we never heard
I
it until
don't know
this
how.
video.
And I was once upon a time working on a cover of it, and somehow I just like forgot to. I don't know.
Yeah, but it is pretty fantastic that it's a really fantastic song, and in the podcast that does not exist, we talked about how Ponyphonic is like one of all of our favorite musicians, because as much as we love a lot of the like electronic music in the fandom, because
It
a lot
gets
of
tiring and it's
Yeah.
oversaturated.
yeah,
It's
a lot
way
of it's
too
really
oversaturated.
good, but it's like the only thing in the fandom outside
Because
of
it's easy to do. There's not many people that can do like film score
Orchestral,
orchestration,
rock.
which
Yeah.
I have to say I love. I listen to a lot of soundtracks. I fucking love orchestral stuff, and I am sad that more people don't do it. Because this this show has a lot of things that you could definitely use as inspiration for orchestral scores. And there are a few people who do.
It's kind of why David Larson is one of my favorite pony musicians. He does a lot of the orchestral stuff too.
I think I've heard of him. And also worth noting, Ponyphonic is made up of a family, which I finally found out it's a mom and 3 kids.
Oh,
So the mom's involved in it.
The mom's
Wow.
mom's the female vocalist.
Wow. Okay.
One of the kids writes the lyrics. I think dad also writes lyrics, and like the 2 other kids are the other vocalists.
God, I was going to add something to this, but I think last time we kind of bounced off of this to go talk about how we liked this as compared to other fan animations.
Or
I'm trying to remember our exact points, but we did have a good...
well, it was because I
amount to
didn't.
say.
Well, you can't remember because I haven't talked about the animation yet.
Oh, okay, go.
Okay,
Be
so
my
one
guest.
of the things there are 2 things that I really like about this episode because I'm thinking about it in comparison to a certain other fan animation.
Thundercunt.
Mhm.
Well, the sequel. The unofficial, not
Oh,
really
Dinky's
sequel.
Destiny. Well, both of them actually, because they both
Both.
do this thing that really annoys me.
the 3D stuff.
Yeah, the attempt at
That's
rendering
right.
3D.
Now, yeah.
Lullaby for a Princess is an example of how you convey the illusion of depth well in
With-
2 dimensions.
With a very good shading.
Okay, that is simultaneously something I like and something that bothers me a little bit. Because I love the fact that they played with the lighting. I love the fact that they played with colored lighting because this is actually something I do in painting and that people have always like given me a lot of praise for doing when I do it in painting.
Oh, I
But,
actually want to try that now. Huh,
Well,
okay.
colored lighting? Yeah, it's like,
colored lighting. I only did it once, and it was kind of fun. I still like that piece.
but yeah, this thing really plays with colored lighting effectively. And it also helps give it its own flavor and its own identity. Bleh, I'm losing my words. Gives it its own identity, it gives it its own voice, and it gives it its own look. It helps distinguish it from every other fan animation ever because light is not just white and darkness isn't just black. You got a kind of orange and blue type thing going on, which admittedly is done a lot, but it's done a lot because it looks natural. The weird thing, the shading was a little bit weird to me, especially with some of it because parts of the animation were still like outlined. But it's a minor complaint in the grand scheme of things. This was really well done, and it's clear that these people know how to convey depth and know what they're doing when it comes to animating and trying to create the illusion of 3-dimensional depth using only 2 dimensions. So, kudos.
All right.
Yeah. Does
DG?
anyone have anything else to say? Like
I'm,
everything I wanted to say is like covered by you guys who know animation stuff better
Yeah.
than I do.
I don't.
Well, that's true, but you know,
I
like,
just said it was good, and I really liked the imagery and how it matched the song.
yeah, like I mean,
It's
that's
good.
that's pretty much
It's
what I would
good.
say too. Like I like it, and it's pretty, and it's awesome. So
This is all we can say.
Yeah, 'cause-
yeah.
Treebeard and Duster are the 2 who like
Art.
know art. Yeah, like if Chris was here, he'd also be able to contribute art and animation talk.
May he
but
rest in peace.
he's not dead. He's fucking like a.
Rip
Are
in
you
peace,
so
Chris.
sure?
no, he became a rock.
Oh, of course. But yeah. So, Lullaby for a Princess is good.
Yeah.
It's good.
We liked it. We don't hate everything done by the fandom.
Yep.
Oh,
You can get off our backs now, but
speaking
I'm
of
sure
things we hate done by the fandom. That's
Yeah.
Ooh, are
Let's
we talking
talk
about that?
This. Let's talk about our next subject.
What was our
did
next
we-
subject?
Have we?
Midnight
I'll get to that in a second.
Midnight Mares.
Yeah.
Yay.
Have
Oh,
we-
my favorite.
Was our previous discussion as part of Hoof Hearted or before we started?
Okay, we
Hoof
have
Hearted?
never discussed Midnight Mares because
Should
we
I
never
sum it
got
up because
around
I'm more familiar with this?
to it. You are the expert, please.
Oh
Go
God,
on.
why am I the expert of this? So, this is the story of a man named Alan Gann. Alan Gann has a dream. He owns a toy company, or a
Maybe
toy
Rip in
producing
peace.
company, rather. And he commissioned duo cartoonist, Children of the Night animator, to make a trailer for this like story idea that he had involving cartoon horses. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The animation is pretty by itself, and it makes no fucking sense. But as a standalone, like, oh, what if my fanfic were a real like movie? It's okay. It's a nice thing to have, but that's not what he was planning to do. He was planning to syndicate this cartoon horse TV show, which, by the way, whoever's editing this, can you put up the title card from the Kickstarter that we were about to talk about?
Do.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is the cartoon horse show that he's planning to syndicate, and in case you haven't noticed, it looks a lot like My Little Pony.
Really? I thought
I
it
can't
looks
really
nothing
tell.
like it.
He denies up and down it's inspired by the Brony fandom, but it is not directly taking place within the My Little Pony universe or with any of the characters. It's in its own unique universe, so to speak, and that the cartoon horses in this have nothing to do with the cartoon horses in Equestria. So the main criticism is it looks exactly like My Little Pony, which he claimed before that his friends...
It's like totally different, guys.
He said that his legal assistants, which is code for some guy on LegalZoom, told him that, that he's totally fine because it doesn't have anything to do with My Little Pony in the story. What's very telling about this guy's intentions is that he has never shown this at an animation showcase. He's never gone to any, animation conventions. He has only shown this project at Brony conventions and literally fucking nowhere else.
And on Brony websites.
And on Brony websites. And also his toy company has only made one product that's for sale on Amazon, and it's a knockoff of it's a plushie of the Android logo. Which, yes, he does not own the trademark to. Thank you for asking. So he ran a Kickstarter during BabsCon of last year.
Well, this year still, technically.
This year.
But,
that's right.
yeah.
So,
He's doing it again.
no spoiling. So he was asking for $10,000 or something. No, he was asking for $100,000. It was something ridiculous. And he only got about $5,000. The great thing was that the campaign was ending during BabsCon, so you could actually see him when you passed by his table looking more and more pissed off as the days went on. And he's selling merchandise. That's also important to note. So the Kickstarter failed. And how Kickstarter works, which is very important later on in this podcast, is that you set a goal. And if you don't reach that goal, you don't get the money. If you do reach that goal, then you get the money and whatever extra money is donated. So he did not reach his goal of $100,000, or I don't even remember what it was. Actually, wait 1 second. Let me open up my, he was asking for $25,000. And he got about $5,000 of that. So he, failed that, so he decided to try again. And he is asking for, surprisingly enough, $5,000.
What an unusual number. Wonder how he came up with that one.
And by the way, he is asking to fund the pitch to network television to pick up his cartoon horse show.
And his toys to go with it. His toys go with it.
And, again, since I'm the expert, I'm gonna go first in discussing why this is wrong. You don't get money to pitch the thing!
Oh no!
You pitch
No, you don't!
The pitch is what gets you the money! And
You kiss
also,
their fucking feet for even giving you 5 minutes of their time to give them the pitch. You don't ask them to pay you for it. That's like asking somebody to pay you to look at the menu at McDonald's.
That's an unusual
that's a hilarious
metaphor, but
analogy.
sure.
That's a hilarious analogy.
That's how asinine this is. It's like somebody saying, "Oh, I can let you look at the menu for McDonald's if you give me $5,000."
And there's a few problems with this Kickstarter, which are repeat from the last one. The biggest one being there is no financial breakdown. And I'm going to compare this to another Kickstarter, which was actually successful. That is the Kickstarter to reboot To Catch a Predator.
Yeah.
Which, if you go to the Kickstarter to reboot To Catch a Predator, they have a pie chart of how much money that they need specifically for each thing.
Oh yeah, the monetary breakdowns.
That's the monetary breakdown, which is very important for a Kickstarter because people want to know where their money's going.
Yeah, that is the thing that when we had our old discussions about Midnight Mares, that was my biggest issue with it. I was just like, fuck the copyright infringement, fuck how terrible of an idea it all is, fuck all of that. Why was there no breakdown, and why still is there no breakdown of where all the money is going?
So people at EQD surprisingly didn't buy this whole hog, which is amazing. They actually got a thought for once, and started asking questions. And they asked him specifically, what's the money, where's the money going? He answers exactly nothing with a lot of words, but eventually he does say, we hired a few people from Double Rainboom.
People you really trust.
That's
that other really shitty fan animation?
That's not the main problem.
It's not.
The main problem is that the trailer that he wants to pitch was made by duo cartoonists. It was not made by the team who made Double Rainboom.
So
nor is it the people who will be making the actual animation.
Nor is it, the team from Double Rainboom or duo cartoonists are not actually making the cartoon. So
may I expand on my McDonald's metaphor?
Yes.
It's like if he's asking you to pay him money to look at the menu for McDonald's while showing you pictures from a Burger King.
I knew you were going there. Okay. Yeah.
This is nothing like what it actually is.
I'm glad this metaphor went there.
Your analogy is the best.
And, generally, I double-checked with my dad on this, who actually is a lawyer, but then again, no legal stuff here. The kind of general test this is a very watered-down version, is if you show two things to your average target audience and they can't tell the difference, that's when you have a problem. So when he says, you can't copyright cartoon horses, let's compare Midnight Mares to the Lullaby cartoon ponies. You look at, and also My Little Pony, let's throw about those three things in. You can tell the Lullaby ponies very much apart from the My Little Pony ponies. You can't tell Midnight Mares apart from My Little Pony. And this is leaving aside the fact that the story is dick and the guy himself is a huge fucking sketch bag that has clearly shown he has no regard for copyright. My biggest issue with this prod is if it were some brony that wanted to make his own pony cartoon and he was doing it because he loved My Little Pony and wanted to make his fanfiction become a reality.
With blackjack and hookers.
Yeah, if he were doing basically that, then I would be a little more forgiving. Because at least it's just a misguided dumbfuck fan. This guy is so blatantly in it for cashing, trying to milk the Brony fandom for money. He has not done anything before, pony-related before Midnight Mares. He has not shown the slightest interest in the fandom. He is so fucking in this for the money and nothing else.
Well, and one of the first things he points out in the Kickstarter, the original one anyways, I'm not sure if it's the same now, but he points out that he's a toy maker, and that he owns a toy company.
Yes, he does!
Before he even gets down to discussing the actual animation.
Which I also have to note the rewards on the Kickstarter are merchandise he has been selling at conventions. Mm-hmm. So a lot of stuff is Kickstarter. These aren't even Kickstarter exclusive. And this is not the first bait and switch that he has pulled. Someone at EQD pointed this out. On the guy's own Twitter, which I'm sure the image is gone by this point, they had photos of the plushies sitting on the table at his presentation at BronyCon. But when you look at the plushies on the actual Kickstarter, they're so much shittier than the ones that he was offering up as pre-orders. People actually pre-ordered, and now they're getting shit.
Well, if you want to talk bait and switch, going back to the financial breakdown, we asked, okay, why is there no financial breakdown? And we always questioned the fact of, okay, he's asking, I believe, the old Kickstarter's down now, it was $225,000 for one episode.
I do not have it written down, but
it's pretty close to that. I think, from what I remember.
God, I feel like a creep. Actually, let me check. 1 second. Keep going. I might have it in my history.
Okay. So, so it was $225,000, and we went on from my memory, we discussed it for about an hour and a half or so
Found
about is that number actually realistic? Is he overestimating, underestimating?
I take it
what?
back.
And our conclusion,
And we
The original
actually- we
Kickstarter,
actually
he
went to
raised-
Treebeard actually for this.
He
'cause
raised,
yeah.
through his original Kickstarter, $7,001. And his...
what was he asking for one full episode?
I am going to go through each of his numbers, actually.
Okay.
For a mini
wonderful.
episode, which is 5 to 7 minutes, 50,000. For a double mini, 8 to 10, 90,000. For a half episode, which is 12 to 14, 125,000, and 250K for a full-length pilot episode, which is 22 to 24 minutes.
Wow. So it was 250K. It was even more than I thought. So yeah, and so we discussed this. We're like, okay, is that realistic? And we came to the conclusion we're not entirely sure if he actually got like a Nickelodeon level animation staff to do it for him. Yeah, it might be. But it doesn't seem like this is the kind of guy who...
I also found the most
I
important
did-
question on his previous Kickstarter, which I wanted to read, and I thought I lost it.
Or someone you'd get like a professional studio.
Yeah, I
Then-
looked up the animation guild minimum wage for a professional animator, and I kind of came up with a number that he might actually be underpaying his animators.
But this gets back to my point. This Kickstarter now, he has changed the number for a full episode from $250,000 to $100,000. What the fuck happened to the other 150? Is he cutting corners? Did he not need that?
He's desperate.
Did he
This
just
is why
pull
you
that
need a
previous
finan-
figure out of his ass?
Yeah,
But guys,
what
you're
is that
missing one of the
figure
most
now?
important questions, which I wanted to read word for word from the old Kickstarter, and I went, oh shit, I lost the old Kickstarter. No, I didn't. It's in my browser history. The most important question is, what is your plan should you encounter any legal challenges?
Yeah.
According to our legal counsel, again, code for I asked some guy on LegalZoom, this series does not violate any existing copyrights or trademarks. Once my full animated story is told, it will be easy to see that it stands alone from any other existing properties. This animated series is based around the adventures of bears, parentheses, horses, end parentheses, and not any other animal.
That's my favorite line.
You can copyright a specific character's design, but cannot restrict someone else's freedom to design and copyright their own original characters, parentheses, within the same species, end parentheses, as long as those characters do not replicate that design. The Midnightmares characters look entirely different in build and body markings. Each also possess multiple personalities, which correspond to their acquired, quote, dream powers, unquote. Quote, Midnightmares, unquote, is its own mythology, which stands alone in its own universe.
Oh,
The following
this
question
poor
is,
soul.
will you accept PayPal?
Does he actually believe the bullshit that flows from his
If it will
mouth?
give him money, yes.
I mean, but really, the 150K, what happened?
I also
need
feel
to
bad for the
know.
one guy who pledged $1,500 on the old podcast, on the old Kickstarter.
Oh.
Well, I mean, since it didn't
Why?
meet the goal, he just
They get their money back, yeah.
yeah. So it's not. So I
Yeah.
don't feel too bad.
He moved back.
I don't think that was a later one, though. I think that was one of the earlier donations. So, what a mess.
What a fuck.
What a travesty.
And yeah, all the comments are, of course, fucking glowing on...
Anyway,
So, if it's not obvious enough, we advise you not to donate to Mr.
Yeah,
Allen
don't
Gann.
donate to him. I am going to say this on the record. He is a money-grubbing whore.